Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris here, and I wanted to bring you a review of a movie that I picked up recently. I saw this, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure where I first saw this, but it had a title that caught my eye. That is Kill Her Goats, right? I mean, just based on the title alone, you know that there's something there potentially that could make for a good, cheesy horror slasher film. When I look on IMDb at this, it looks like this movie doesn't technically release until April. I went on to the website for this movie and they had a 4K Blu-ray disc for sale. So this is the 4K Blu-ray disc of Kill Her Goats. And I gotta say, the transfer of this looks really nice. I just finished watching it. It has some decently solid practical effects when it comes to gore, all of that kind of stuff. Beyond that, there is not a single redeeming quality associated with this film. Hey, if you're watching this video, if you're enjoying the content, please do me a favor, take a moment to click the subscribe button. Please give it a thumbs up. And as always, I very much appreciate your viewership. So, legitimately, and I don't say this lightly because, again, I've tried to make a really cheap, on a low budget type of horror film before. If you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about it before. It's not an easy thing to do. So I don't, sort of undervalue the work that went into making something like this come to life. But again, I don't say this lightly. This is probably one of the, in my top 5 worst films I've ever seen. It is legitimately that bad. So the plot goes something like this, and I'm going to try to keep this relatively spoiler free. I don't know why you would want to watch this, but I'm going to try to keep it spoiler free. This somewhat wealthy family in the Martha's Vineyard area, or the Cape Cod area, I think it is, has a long history of sort of weird stuff going on, I guess. And someone who's part of that family, who has just graduated from college, is given a house by her wealthy father. She goes to this house. Some friends join her at the house as sort of a celebration of her new home ownership. And a masked killer by the name of Goatface is sort of prowling the area, played by none other than Kane Hodder. And that was one of the things that kind of drew me to this initially. Like, Kane Hodder is in this, so there's got to be a little bit of legitimacy to what we actually see happening in this movie. But again, I got to tell you, there's just nothing here that is worth your time. And I say that, sadly, because I was kind of hoping there would be something to find here. I may actually sell my copy of this disc because there's like literally no chance I'm ever going to watch this again. And I think a lot of it really comes down to how terrible the plot actually is. It starts off with a little bit of promise, but it becomes completely nonsensical. And for such a simple, straightforward movie, kind of hard to follow. That could have been my fault in that I became bored watching this. It became sort of a chore to get through it. I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes long, but it felt like an eternity trying to get through this movie. So beyond the writing, the directing just makes absolutely no sense either. There are a lot of times where you'll be following a character in frame, and then you'll get a cut to a bush or a cut to an exterior of a home, and then you go back to that person, then you get a cut from outside and then back. I don't know if in some of these instances, the idea was that you're kind of going for a Michael Myers kind of vibe, where the slasher character is stalking somebody from the outside. If that's the case, I don't really ever see that come to fruition in the movie. I would say literally 35 to 40 minutes could have been trimmed out of this film. A good chunk of this movie is literally women walking around a house, drinking wine, and taking the longest showers in the history of showers. We're talking one shower begins and it's light outside. You see sort of a transition effect where it becomes dark and a shower is still going on and they're drinking wine. So this movie could have been titled Women Drinking Wine, Taking Extra Long Showers, and Walking Around the House, the movie. And that's really all this is. Yes, eventually the killer does show up, and for some reason, a sign that he is in the vicinity are goats running around. Again, I don't really remember why that's the case. I don't remember there being any sort of plot element here that makes that an important piece of the film. But as the name would imply, there are plenty of goats roaming around. It doesn't make a ton of sense. So beyond the terrible directing, beyond the awful, nonsensical writing, and again, I hate to say this, and you don't really expect this sort of thing, from this type of movie. You don't expect, sort of Oscar-level, Academy Award-winning acting, but the acting here is atrocious. So while I went into this hoping to have a cheesy good time with it, there really was not a single redeeming thing with this film. I cannot in any way, shape, or form recommend that you check it out. Again, my plan is to probably list this on Mercari and sell it because I don't know that I'll ever watch it again. In a way, it's kind of interesting to have as an oddity. I mean, the steelbook itself is nice. If you look at it from sort of a 4K disc perspective, it does some nice things. It actually even gives you some cards and lithographs and that sort of stuff that go along with some scenes in the movie. But there's nothing memorable here. I mean, this really is all around a really amateurish effort that it has nothing good going for it, really, at all. So unfortunately, those are my thoughts on Kill Her Goats. I would say that it's bad. Sorry, I had to put a goat in there. Is that a sheep or a goat? Anyway, I had to put that sort of joke in there, of course. I'm not sure why I got this early because, again, when I check online, it looks like this isn't supposed to be coming out for a while yet, but I've got it here. I watched it. I had the experience of watching it, so now I never have to watch it again. And you've watched this review, so hopefully in watching the review, you never have to watch it again either. But anyway, if you've had the misfortune to see this film, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And as always, thanks so much for watching.